good people? It's me, your homegirl, Ladosha, Wright, the author of Curly Hair Adventures and What They Don't Tell You at the Hair Salon, excuse me, rocking my shelter-in-place bootleg YouTube studio as I'm coming to you live and direct to tell you what they don't tell you at the hair salon about lightening your hair at home. So what I want you guys to understand about what I'm about to share with you about lightening your hair at home is that, number one, I really don't recommend it. So I'm making this video because I want you guys to understand what it entails to lighten your hair at home, and you have to understand the backdrop, you know, to doing this process. So on one token, of course, I'm not saying it can't be done because people do it every day, all day. But the truth of the matter is a lot of people do it and they have, you know, they're not very successful at it. So what I'm going to do in this video is explain to you what it is to blonde your hair, what you should look for before you do it, and what you should look for after it, and you know which companies who would support you most. So I'm just going to keep it really synced, simple, and hopefully it'll help you make a better decision, or maybe not better. How about this? It'll help you make a informed decision as to whether to lighten your hair or not lighten your hair at home, okay? So again, my disclaimer is you should not do this at home. But if you must, because I know you like, girl, whatever, I'm about to go over to the other channel and copy that girl. So here's what I want you to do. So number one, here's what I want y'all to do for me. Don't believe the hype. All right, okay, so don't believe the hype about coloring your hair at home all over. So if you just must color your hair, how about you start off with a strand test? Let's just see what you're going to do with your hair. What's going to happen if you just color this one piece? So if you mess up, you'll only have one piece that you messed up versus your whole entire head. If you are coloring a hair weave at home, then again, I got a little mannequin here. One piece, okay? Don't mess up your weave and try to do the whole weave because you're going to mess it up and you may not have enough products, so on and so forth. So remember, one piece. All right, we got that out the way. Now what I want you to understand is that before you go out and buy your product and put this in your hair, I want you guys to scroll on the internet first. Google the brands of color you're interested in. If you went into like a CVS or a beauty supply store or a Rite or a Walgreens or a Walmart, because that's about all that's open right now, then write down what you looked at, okay? Number one. And then number two, go home or while you're in the store, look up the company. Do that first because make sure they have some support for you in their language versus a YouTuber or an influencer, okay? Let the company tell you how to do it because they have the chemists and all these good people there to make sure that you're going to have better results at home. However, if they're using influencers and all that, that's cool, okay? But I prefer let the company teach you, all right? So I know what you're saying. Well, which companies? Which companies? So number one, I'm a big fan of, here we go, right here. Now this isn't color. Blonde color because it's a pandemic and I can't find any anywhere, okay? So I brought this just to highlight Revlon. So Revlon, to me, in my personal and professional opinion, is the best company in the world for home hair care, color, and lightening. And I'm going to break down the difference between the two. So I'm just going to give you a few reasons why Revlon is the best if you must do this at home. Number one, Revlon has the longevity that a lot of companies don't have. Number two, Revlon was ahead of the curve in being on the internet and YouTube before a lot of companies ever rocked it with quality, with education, and with science. So they don't have all that fluff. I mean, they have it, but that's not the focal point. All right, number three, their instructions. Now, I know what you're saying. All companies give you a free pair of gloves, and they have these pictures and everything. But again, Revlon, they've got the science behind theirs. They have the 1-800 number, and I know the other companies do, but Revlon has the longevity. And for the records, all companies don't. So here's a company who has a hair color, but they have their directions in the box. So, okay, so that's what I got to say about why I like Revlon, all right? So now let's break down the difference between hair color and hair lightener, okay? So remember, over the counter, I'm saying please, please use Revlon or a reputable company. So this is a professional, this is over the counter, all right? So now hair color and lightener, two different things. That's what they don't tell you at the hair salon. Lightener is not color. Lightener is removing pigment from your hair, hence bleach. But we don't use that term in the hair salon. I know, but this ain't no hair salon. So this is Rusk, a professional brand. You can't find this over the counter. So I'm just showing you, you can get it in a tub like this. However, when you go to your beauty supply stores and when you go to like Sally's, I don't know, in Ohio, in Cleveland, they're not open. They may be open in your state. You will see the lightener come in packets. Now, the packets are to protect you from yourself to do what I'm asking you to do, which is do a strand test, guys. Don't put this stuff all over your hair, and don't buy 2 packets thinking it's enough for your weave or even a tub, because even a tub in some instances is not enough color, okay? So now you understand that lightener and hair color are 2 different things. Lightener does not color your hair, it removes pigment. Color will give you color. So when you remove pigment from your hair, you're going to need a toner. So toners can be red, purple, green, but since we're talking blonde, toners should be in the blonde family. So if you buy this stuff and you put it on your hair and it comes up that funky, like orangey, yellow, brassy, it's because you're just revealing that underlying pigment, and that's a whole nother conversation, which is why I said don't do this at home. But if you insist, you need a toner, okay? And you can watch a lot of videos about toners, but if you get the Revlon lightener at home, then you'll be able to do this successfully. Now, if you buy a box of color and the color says blonde, it doesn't mean you're going to get what's on the box. So, again, this is why I like Revlon. So, Revlon has this on the box. So, a lot of people, they buy this stuff and then they don't look at the box, they don't read the directions, okay? So, Revlon has right here for you levels. All right, so hair comes in dark, natural levels to as light as blonde. So what Revlon is saying, when you buy this brand, this color, if your hair is this color, these are the results. If your hair is this color, these are the results. You see? So Revlon has this guide on here for you to understand what the results will look like. So if you buy a box of color and it has a picture with the lady with the blonde afro or this beautiful blonde hair, turn the box around to see what levels will give you that result. So don't make the mistake in buying the box blonde color thinking, oh, I'm going to take this blonde hair color and put it on my hair. Why? Because hair color is not removing the pigment. The blonde removes the pigment and you have to tone it. So when you're coloring your weaves and your natural hair, always do a strand test and write down your formula so you'll know what you did. Most blonde colors do not come with the visual like you get when you buy permanent color, unless you do Revlon, okay? So be careful, buyer beware, all right? Next up, make sure your hair is in good condition. So if your hair is breaking, excuse me, if your hair is breaking off, you know, you're seeing fallout, you don't clean your hair very often. If you're the type of person who's shampooing their hair every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, don't do the blonde all over. You can probably get away with a few pieces, but not as a practice, because soiled scalp and lightened hair is a disaster for is headed for a disaster. I'm sorry. If you're wearing your hair without chemicals, like your afros, your coils, your locks, again, you have to be careful with lightening your hair, because when you lighten your hair, you will be drying your hair out. So when you color your hair, oxygen makes the color develop. But when you go to lighten your hair, oxygen that's in the air, it will dry the powder lightener out and it'll stop working. That's why I want you guys to understand that coloring your hair and blonding or lightening your hair are two different things. The sciences, the chemistry, they're two different, you know, theories. So this is why I don't want you to do it. But if you are doing it, I want you to understand this before you color your hair. That's why it's the name of the video. I'm sorry. Before you lighten your hair, watch this video. That's what I'm calling it, okay? Because nobody's talking about this. Like, oh, is that what happened? Yeah, that's what happened, okay? So your hair has to be in good condition. If it's natural, meaning you don't have any chemicals in it, locks, you know, curly hair, wavy hair with no chemicals, is going to dry the hair. So you have to offset that with the right type of a product, which is best done in the hair salon. Revlon and some other companies, they do add oils to their color, but their lighteners, they don't. So again, buyer beware, all right? So next up, I want you to understand this about hair coloring, is that you want to make sure that you have what? The right tools and the right techniques. So the techniques, I'm asking strand test. If you're going to color your hair all over, grid it out with little pieces and color them one color at a time, one block at a time. Don't pour this stuff all in your hair. Please don't do that, okay? So, and you make sure you have your gloves and all that other good stuff. So now you got the tools, you got the technique. You understand that the hair has to be in good condition. You understand that you want to buy your color from a reputable company. Don't just go into the store and say, hey girl, what you think I should use to lighten my hair? No, because it's a little bit more than that. Remember, when you buy it, see if they have some type of guide. If the guide isn't there, see if they have a YouTube or a website. If they're using an influencer, is it your level? Does the color that they're working on, is this the color of your hair, or is this the color of your hair? So these are two different colors. They're going to give you two different results, even when you're lightening your hair. So even if you want to remove this color out of your hair, you have to make sure that the video you are watching, the color is this color, not this color. Last but not least, when you color hair, when you're removing color from the hair, you will need a developer. Now, this is a professional brand, and this is Schwarzkopf. So you're not going to be able to get this over the counter, but developers or volumes are the levels of brightness or intensity that you can get when you lighten your hair. So the number will tell you how bright you can or can't go. So 10 developer or volume gives you one level, 22, 33, 44. So the darker the hair, you're only, in theory, you're going to get 4 levels. So you're not going to go from as dark as this comb and end up as light as my hair in one process. If your hair is this dark, or if your hair is as dark as this mannequin, which is like chocolate color, okay, you will not be able to achieve my color of blonde, with 40 volume. You're going to have to do that in 2 processes, which is very dangerous, and I don't think you should do that at home. However, if you must, I just want you to understand that. Last but not least, blondes come in hues. So you have like my blonde. This is a copper blonde mixed with let me lift it up here, a golden blonde. So you can see the golden blonde and you see the copper, and then that's my red copper, okay? So that's a copper blonde. And then you also have strawberry blondes, which has like a reddish kind of a lightness to it. And then you have your blonde blondes, you know, like Pamela Anderson, you know, Mariah Carey has that type of a blonde hair, Beyonce. So those are blondes, but they have different hues and toners on top to give you a different result. So understand that number 1, do your research before you buy. Number 2, Revlon is the best, and I gave you all the reasons why Revlon is the best. Number 3, understand your levels. You've got to understand that if your hair is this dark, you won't get that light in one sitting, okay? Number 2, you will need a developer. The number on the developer tells you how many levels of lift. So 10 developer or 10 volume will not take you from this to this. I don't care if you sit for an hour and try to use some purple shampoo. It don't work like that, Key Lolo, okay? I don't care if you went from this, you started at this level and you're trying to get that yellow buttery blonde and you use 40 volume and you sit for a whole hour. Your hair will melt off before you achieve the blonde. And also make sure you use a toner. Do not lift your hair with that blonde without a toner, or else you're going to be brassy and you're going to be like, oh my God, I should have listened to Ladosha's YouTube. Last but not least, if you have natural hair, meaning you don't have any chemicals in it. It's afro, it's curly, it's wavy, it's coily, all those 4A, whatever you call that stuff. Be careful when you're lightening your hair, because remember, color is different. Hair color is going to deposit new color. Lightener is removing the pigment out of your hair, which is a drying process. The alkaline level is very high, much like a relaxer, and you will have the same unwanted, undesirable results. So I hope you have found this very, very helpful. Remember that you can visit me on all the social media platforms. I have my podcast coming up every Thursday, so you can check out my podcast, What They Don't Tell You at the Hair Salon. My Patreon page is coming, so you can help support me. And then I also offer virtual hair care appointments, okay? Thank you so much. You know what I say when I'm always signing out, right? A whole lot of peace, a whole lot of love, and a whole lot of hair. And if you ain't got no hair, then do what? Okay, rub your beautiful bald head, all right? Thanks, guys. I love you. Stay home, stay in. Wash your hands, help flatten the curve, all right? Bye.